In a small, quiet village, nestled between rolling hills and dense forests, there lived a young boy named Arjun. Arjun was known for his curious mind and boundless energy, but he often felt lost, unsure of his purpose. He would spend hours by the river, staring at the water, wondering why he felt so empty, despite the beauty that surrounded him. One day, as he sat by the river, an old man with a long white beard approached him. The man's eyes were deep, like wells of wisdom, and his presence was calming yet commanding. He sat beside Arjun and, without a word, handed him a small, intricately carved wooden box. "What's this?" Arjun asked, his curiosity piqued. "Open it," the old man replied with a gentle smile. Arjun carefully opened the box to find a single, glowing ember nestled within. The ember pulsed with a warm, golden light, casting flickering shadows on the ground. "This," the old man said, "is the fire within. It is the source of all motivation, the drive that pushes us to achieve our dreams, to overcome our fears, and to find our purpose. But it is not easily kept alive. It requires constant care, attention, and the courage to face the challenges that life throws at us." Arjun stared at the ember, mesmerized by its glow. "But how do I keep it alive? How do I find my purpose?" The old man leaned back, his eyes twinkling. "That, my boy, is a journey you must undertake. But I will guide you with 3 burning questions. The answers you seek lie within them." Chapter 1. The first burning question. What do you truly desire? The old man's first question echoed in Arjun's mind as he walked back to the village. What do you truly desire? It seemed simple, yet the more he thought about it, the more complex it became. He had always wanted to explore the world beyond the village, to see the mountains, the oceans, and the vast deserts he had heard about in stories. But was that all? Was there something deeper, something more meaningful that he desired? That night, Arjun lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. He thought about the ember, still glowing softly in its box on his bedside table. He thought about the old man's words and realized that his desire wasn't just to see the world. It was to understand it, to find his place within it, and to make a difference. The next morning, Arjun returned to the river, where the old man was waiting for him. "Well," the old man asked. "I desire to understand the world and my place in it," Arjun replied confidently. The old man nodded, a satisfied smile on his face. "Good. But desire alone is not enough. You must also ask yourself, what are you willing to sacrifice to achieve it?" Chapter 2. The second burning question. What are you willing to sacrifice? Arjun pondered the second question as he went about his daily chores. What was he willing to sacrifice? His comfort, his time, his relationships? The question weighed heavily on him, and he realized that achieving his desire would require more than just wishful thinking. That evening, he sat by the fire with his family, watching the flames dance and flicker. He thought about the ember still glowing in its box, and realized that just as the fire needed fuel to keep burning, his dreams would require sacrifices to come to life. The next day, Arjun returned to the old man with his answer. "I am willing to sacrifice my comfort and my time. I am willing to work hard, to face challenges, and to push through my fears." The old man's eyes gleamed with approval. "You are beginning to understand, but there is one more question you must answer." Chapter 3. The third burning question. What will you do when you face failure? The third question hit Arjun like a thunderbolt. Failure? He hadn't even considered the possibility. What would he do if he failed? Would he give up? Or would he keep going? Over the next few days, Arjun wrestled with the question. He thought about the times he had failed in the past, the times he had fallen while learning to climb trees, the times he had lost games with his friends. Each time, he had gotten back up, dusted himself off, and tried again. But this was different. This was about his dreams, his purpose. What if he failed at that? One night, as he lay in bed, he remembered the ember. It was still glowing, but it was dimmer now, as if it were waiting for him to make a decision. He realized that failure was not the end. It was just a part of the journey. What mattered was how he responded to it. The next morning, Arjun returned to the old man with his final answer. When I face failure, I will not give up. I will learn from it, grow stronger, and keep moving forward. The old man smiled, his eyes filled with pride. You have answered well, Arjun. You have found the fire within. Now, it is up to you to keep it alive. Chapter 4. The Journey Begins. With the old man's guidance, Arjun set out on his journey. He left the village, carrying the ember in its box, and ventured into the unknown. Along the way, he faced countless challenges, rugged terrain, harsh weather, and moments of doubt. But each time he felt like giving up, he would open the box and look at the ember, reminding himself of his desire, his sacrifices, and his determination to keep going. As he traveled, Arjun met many people, some who inspired him, others who tested him. He learned from each encounter, gaining wisdom and strength. He discovered that motivation was not a constant flame, but a fire that needed to be nurtured, fed by his actions, his choices, and his resilience. Chapter 5. The Fire Within. Years passed, and Arjun became a man. He had seen the mountains, the oceans, and the deserts. He had faced failure, learned from it, and grown stronger. And through it all, the ember had remained with him, a constant reminder of the fire within. One day, Arjun returned to his village. He was no longer the lost boy who had sat by the river, wondering about his purpose. He was a man who had found his place in the world, who had made a difference through his actions and his courage. As he stood by the river, the old man appeared once more, his eyes filled with pride. You have done well, Arjun, the old man said. You have kept the fire within alive. But remember, the journey does not end here. The fire must continue to burn, fueled by your desire, your sacrifices, and your resilience. Arjun nodded, understanding now that motivation was not a destination, but a journey. It was the fire within that pushed him to keep going, to keep striving, and to keep dreaming. Conclusion. The Eternal Flame. As Arjun stood by the river, he realized that the fire within was not just his. It was a part of everyone. It was the spark that ignited dreams, the flame that fueled determination, and the light that guided the way through darkness. And so, Arjun made a promise to himself, to keep the fire within alive, to nurture it, and to share its warmth with others. For he knew that as long as the fire burned, there was no challenge too great, no dream too far, and no purpose too elusive. The fire within was eternal, and so was the journey. Epilogue. The Legacy. Years later, Arjun became a storyteller, traveling from village to village, sharing the tale of the fire within. He spoke of the three burning questions, of the sacrifices and the resilience required to keep the fire alive. And as he spoke, he saw the spark ignite in the eyes of those who listened, just as it had in his own so many years ago. And so, the fire within lived on, passed from one generation to the next, a timeless reminder of the power of motivation, the strength of the human spirit, and the eternal flame that burns within us all. Thank you for watching. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, share this video with someone who needs motivation.